The moment he saw the package, he stopped breathing. Not dramatically. Not enough for anyone else to notice, but enough that I felt it. It was just a box. Medium-sized. Brown. Nothing unusual. No markings. No urgency. Just something my mom had sent. She sends things sometimes. Not often. But enough that it never felt strange. Homemade food. Old photos. Things she thinks I forgot. Things she doesn't want me to forget. So I didn't think twice. I brought it inside. Set it on the kitchen counter. Still talking. Still moving. Still in the rhythm of a normal day. I think it's from my mom, I said. Half distracted. Already reaching for the scissors. That's when he spoke. Not loudly. Not urgently. Don't open it. Quiet. Controlled. Wrong. I laughed. Of course I did. Because that's what people do when something doesn't fit. They smooth it. Turn it into something lighter. Safer. Easier to ignore. What? I said. Still smiling. Still reaching. Don't. He said again. Same tone, but different now. Not a suggestion, not a joke, a boundary. And that's when I stopped. Not completely. Just enough to look at him. Really look. Because something was off. He wasn't panicking. That's important. He wasn't scared in the way people are when something is unknown. He was still. Focused. Watching the box like it wasn't new. Like he recognized it. That's not funny, I said. Still trying to bring it back. Still trying to keep it normal. It's just from my mom. I know, he said. That's what made it worse. We stood there. The box between us. No movement. No explanation. Just distance. And something in me shifted. Not fear. Not yet. Recognition that this moment wasn't normal anymore, and I didn't know why. I picked up the scissors again. Slower this time, more aware. You're being weird, I said. Half joking, half not. Stop. This time, he didn't whisper. He didn't raise his voice, but something in it cut through everything. And I did. Not because I understood, because I didn't. And that was worse. Because now, nothing made sense. Why would he know? Why would he care? Why would a package from my mother make him react like that? Unless it wasn't just a package. That's when I saw it. The tape. Not the box. The tape. It wasn't applied normally. Not clean. Not centered. Not the way people seal something they expect to be opened. It was layered. Reinforced. Like someone was trying to make sure it stayed closed. Or that it had been opened before. My hand moved away from the scissors. Not consciously. Just instinct. He was still watching it. Not me. The box. Like he was waiting for something. Like he already knew what was inside. What is this? I asked. Not accusing. Not emotional. Just honest. I don't know, he said. And I believed him. That's what made it worse. Because he didn't know. But he recognized it. And that means one thing. Whatever was inside that box wasn't new. It was something from before. Something connected to him. Not to me. I thought the moment he said don't open it was the beginning of the problem. I was wrong. That moment was the first sign that whatever was inside that box had already happened. We stood there. Neither of us moved. I stopped reaching for the scissors. Not because I understood. Because I didn't. That was worse. He wasn't guessing. He was recognizing. So I stopped looking at the box and looked at him. Really looked. His jaw, too tight. His hand, too still. His eyes, not on me, on the box. He didn't ask what it was. Not once. He skipped curiosity. That's not normal. How do you know something's wrong? He didn't answer. That silence said everything. He was choosing what to tell me. How do you know? This time, no softness, no room left to ignore it. He exhaled, then said, I've seen that tape before. That's when it broke. Seen it where? Seen it when? Seen it on what? None of those answers made sense, because they all lead somewhere bad, and he knew that. I stepped closer, not to open it, to study it. Now I saw it clearly. Layered tape, uneven pressure, edges stressed, then sealed again. Resealed. Reseal, he said quietly. That word changed everything, because don't open it can be instinct. Something's wrong can be fear. But resealed? That's history. That's pattern. Which means this wasn't new. Whatever this is, it's already happened before. Not inside the box. Before the box. Before it got here. Before it reached me. Start talking. He hesitated again. You hated that now. Not the delay. What it meant. A few years ago, he said, there was a situation. Of course there was. What situation? A package was sent, he said. It wasn't supposed to reach them unopened. Them. Not me. That's when it clicked. This box might not even be for me. Not really. I looked at the label. My mother's handwriting. Familiar. Safe. Not anymore. Now it felt intentional. Did my mom know you'd recognize it? He looked at me. This time, same fear, same confusion. I don't know. And that was worse. Because now, there were two problems. The box. And him. I thought opening the package would tell me what was wrong. But now, I understood something worse. This wasn't about what was inside. It was about why my husband knew what had been done to it before I even touched it. We didn't open it. That changed everything. Because now, the problem didn't resolve. It expanded. Every second the box stayed closed, it became heavier. Not physically, structurally. It was no longer an object. It was a decision. I moved it. From the center of the counter to the edge. Small movement, but intentional. Like creating distance would make it less real. It didn't. Call her. The words came out fast, too fast. Because now, I didn't want theory. I wanted confirmation. No. Too fast. Not hesitation, not thought. Reflex. Which means he already knew that wouldn't help. Why not? He looked at the box again, then away. That bothered me. Because now, everything he knew was still orbiting that thing. Because if she sent it intentionally, he stopped, corrected himself. Then calling her won't change anything. If she sent it intentionally, not accidentally, not mistakenly, not randomly, intentionally. That's when my mother changed again. Not from safe to dangerous, from known to strategic. You're assuming a lot. He didn't argue, didn't defend. That's because I've seen how this goes. Not if, how. Which means this isn't one event. It's a pattern. Something repeatable. Something he's already been part of. What did you do? It came out sharper than I expected. Not planned, but correct. Because now, this wasn't just about the box. It was about his history with it. He shook his head. Not denial. Avoidance. I didn't do anything. Pause. I just saw what happened. Witness. That's worse. Because actors make mistakes. Witnesses understand systems. Which means he knows how this unfolds. Step by step. Outcome by outcome. And he still told me not to open it. I stepped back toward the counter. Not touching it. Just closer. Because distance wasn't helping anymore. Before, I wanted to open it. Now, I wanted to understand why I shouldn't. That's a different kind of fear. I looked at the label again. My name, my address, everything correct. But something felt off. Not the handwriting, not the ink, the placement. Too centered, too deliberate, too perfect. Like it was meant to be read. What if it's not for me? I said it out loud. Slow, careful. That changed the room. His eyes flicked to mine. That was it. That was the confirmation. I was getting closer. It has my name, I said, but that doesn't mean I'm the one it's meant for. Because delivery and intention are not the same thing. If the box was meant to be opened, then the tape wouldn't matter. If the box was meant to stay closed, then it wouldn't have been sent. So there's only one option left. It's meant to be opened by the wrong person. Neither of us spoke, because once that idea exists, you don't rush to fill the space. You let it settle. And that's when everything aligned. My mother sending it, my husband recognizing it, the tape, the hesitation. This wasn't random. This was directed. At me. Or through me. I thought the danger was inside the box. But now, I understood something worse. The danger wasn't what was in it. It was what would happen the moment I opened it, and realized it was never meant for me to understand. We didn't touch the box. We moved away from it. Not far. Just enough to breathe without feeling like it was watching us. Because now, the question wasn't what's inside. It was, what happened last time? And he knew. Tell me. No softness left. No room to delay. He nodded once, like he'd already decided this was the point he couldn't avoid anymore. A few years ago, he said, I was helping a friend. Not close, not family, just someone who needed something done and didn't want to ask too many questions. That part mattered. They got a package, he said. Same kind of tape. Same reseal. And just like me, they didn't think twice. They opened it. He stopped there. Not for effect. Because that's where it changes. And he looked at the box. Not at me, still at the box. Like it hadn't stopped being the center of everything. There was nothing obvious inside, he said. No threat. No warning. No reason to panic. Just documents. That made it worse. Documents? He nodded. Copies. Photos. Records. Things that didn't belong to the person who received them. That's when it starts. Not immediately, he said. At first, it just looked wrong. Private information. Things you shouldn't have. Things you didn't ask for. Things that make you ask questions. So they started looking into it. Trying to figure out where it came from. Why it was sent. Who it was about. That was the mistake. Because the box wasn't meant to deliver information. It was meant to start something. A chain. A reaction. A path you don't realize you're walking until you're already in it. And once you start, you can't stop. What happened to them? He hesitated. Just once. That's how I knew it was bad. They lost everything. No build-up. No explanation. Just final. That doesn't make sense. It didn't to them either. They followed what was inside. They asked questions. They went to the wrong people. They believed they were uncovering something. They thought they were in control. They weren't. The information wasn't random, he said. It was targeted. Structured. It led them somewhere specific. And the moment they got there, someone was already waiting. I didn't ask what that meant. Because I already knew. Not details. Structure. This wasn't an accident, it was design. And now, that design was in my kitchen. And you're telling me? I stopped. Corrected myself. This is the same thing. He didn't answer. Not directly. I'm telling you. Pause. It feels the same. That's worse than certainty. Because certainty can be wrong, but recognition comes from experience. And my mom sent this. Now he looked at me. Fully. I know. And that was the real problem. Not the tape. Not the box. Not even what might be inside. The problem is, my mother is now part of the pattern, and I don't know how. I looked at the box again. Didn't move closer. Didn't reach. Because now, Opening it wasn't curiosity anymore. It was a decision with consequences I didn't understand. I thought the danger was what was inside the box. But now, I understood something worse. The real danger was that someone like my husband had already seen this happen before, and still couldn't tell me how to stop it. We didn't touch the box. That didn't stop it. For a moment, it felt like we had made the right choice. Leave it closed. Don't engage. Don't follow the path. Simple. Too simple. Because we were thinking the box was the trigger. It wasn't. We were. My phone buzzed. Not loud, not urgent, just present. That's all it takes. I looked. Of course I did. Unknown number? No name. No history. Just a message. Did you open it? I didn't breathe. Didn't think. Didn't move. Because that question shouldn't exist. He stepped closer. Didn't ask. Didn't need to. He read it. And his expression didn't change. Because now, this wasn't new information. It was confirmation. Another buzz. Don't wait too long. That's when it became real. Not curiosity. Not coincidence. Timing. Awareness. Someone knows the box is here. Someone is watching the outcome. I lock my phone. Too fast. Too late. Because once you see something like that, you can't unsee it. This is how it starts. Not might start. Starts. You knew this would happen. Not accusing. Not emotional. Just true. I knew it could. That's enough. So what now? That question felt smaller than the situation, and I hated that. We don't respond. Wrong. Because silence is still a response. And whoever sent that message knows that. My phone buzzed again. I didn't want to look, but I did. We know you're home. That's the moment fear changes shape. Not abstract, not theoretical, personal, immediate, present. I stepped back, not from the phone, from the box. Because now, it wasn't just connected, it was active. The box didn't need to be opened. It had already done its job. It got here. And now, we were part of it. That was the trap. He went to the window. Didn't rush. Didn't panic. Just looked. Measured. Careful. That scared me more than anything. Because panic means uncertainty. Control like that means he's seen this stage before. How far does this go? He didn't answer immediately. Then, further than we want. Not helpful, but honest. And that's when I understood the real mistake. We thought not opening the box would keep us out of it. But the moment it arrived, we were already in. I thought the danger was inside the package, but now I understood something worse. The package wasn't meant to be opened. It was meant to confirm that we were exactly where they needed us to be. We didn't move. That didn't stop anything. The house was quiet. Too quiet. No cars outside, no footsteps, no sound that explained the message. Just us and the box. And whoever was waiting. My phone buzzed again. This time, I didn't want to look. So I did. Take it to the door. That's when it changed. From watching to directing. From possibility to instruction. I didn't touch the box. Didn't answer. Didn't move. But my body already knew. This wasn't optional. No. Stronger this time. He moved closer. Positioned himself just slightly in front of it. Not aggressively. Protectively. Like he'd done this before. Once you follow instructions, he said, you're not deciding anymore. That line mattered. They already know we're here. They already know we didn't open it. So what difference does it make? All of it. No hesitation. They don't need the box opened. They need you to engage. To respond. To confirm you'll follow. That's the system. So the box was never the test. You are. Another message. Now. That's new. Because time forces decisions, and rushed decisions are easier to control. Your chest tightens. Your hands go cold. Your thoughts start speeding up while your body slows down. That's how pressure works. We need to leave. That caught me off guard. What? He was already moving, grabbing his keys, looking at exits, checking the door without opening it. He wasn't reacting. He was executing. You've been through this, I said. Not a question, a statement. Not exactly this, he said, but close enough. That's worse. What happens if we don't do anything? They escalate. Simple. Certain. It hadn't moved. Still sitting there. Silent. But now, it felt like a clock. Counting something down. And that's when I understood what this really was. Not a trap you walk into. A system that adapts to whatever you choose. Open it. It pulls you one way. Ignore it. It pulls you another. Follow instructions. You go deeper. Refuse. It changes tactics. There is no neutral move. So what do we do? He looked at me. Fully. Clearly. For the next move, he said, we decide. Not them. Us. The phone didn't buzz. For a moment. Like it was waiting. Like it knew this was the point where things change. Because whatever this is, it's not just watching us. It's adapting to us. I thought the danger was opening the box. But now, I understood something worse. The real danger was that no matter what we chose next, we were already playing a game someone else had designed. The phone went quiet. That was the worst part. No more messages, no countdown, no instructions, just space. And space forces truth. You're not telling me everything. No anger, no accusation, just final. He didn't argue, didn't deflect, didn't soften it. He just stood there, deciding how much I was about to lose. That's what truth does. I told you I saw what happened. Pause. That's not the whole story. Of course it isn't. Because by now, I already knew. You don't recognize something like this that quickly, unless you were closer to it than you're saying. I helped deliver one. That landed clean. Too clean. Not opened. Not received. Delivered. Which means he wasn't just in the system, he was part of it. And he never told me. You sent one of these to someone? He nodded. Once. No defense. No explanation. Just fact. That's when it shifted. Not the situation, not the danger. Him. Because now, this wasn't just something happening to us. This was something he had once helped happen to someone else. And I didn't know that version of him. Why? One word. Heavy enough to carry everything. I didn't know what it was. Pause. Not at first. That's not innocence. That's delay. It was framed as something else. Logistics. Delivery. No context. No explanation. Just a job. Until it wasn't. By the time I understood, he said, it was already done. Too late. So this, you looked at the box. This is the same thing? Not exactly. Pause. But close enough. Again. That phrase again. Then why send it here? Why me? That's when I knew. This part mattered more than anything else. Because he didn't have a safe version of the answer. Because you're connected to both sides. That didn't make sense. My mom and you. He shook his head. No. You and the outcome. That was worse. What outcome? The one they're trying to create. They. Not him. Not my mom. Someone else. Then my mom didn't send this. She might have mailed it. Pause. That doesn't mean it's hers. That's when everything collapsed. Because now, my mother wasn't the source. She was a channel. A path. A way to make sure I wouldn't question it until it was already inside my house. Inside my life. This wasn't about the box. It wasn't about the past. It wasn't even about him. It was about me. I was the target. Not because I did something. Because I was positioned. at the intersection of something unfinished, something his past touched, and my family unknowingly carried. We didn't speak, because now there was nothing left to soften, nothing left to misunderstand. Only one thing left: the choice. I thought the box was the danger. Then I thought my husband was. Now, I understood the truth. The box wasn't meant to hurt me. It was meant to use me. And whatever was inside was only the beginning of something I had already been pulled into long before it arrived at my door. We stood there. And this time, we didn't wait. There's a moment in every situation like this where not choosing becomes worse than choosing wrong. We were past that. So I moved. Not slowly, not carefully. Clean. I reached for the box. He didn't stop me. That mattered. Because before, he was trying to protect me. Now, he was watching what would happen when I stepped into it anyway. That's a different kind of trust. I picked up the scissors. No pause, no second thought. And cut through the tape. It didn't resist. That surprised me. For something sealed that tightly, it should have been harder. It wasn't. I pulled the flaps back, looked inside. Nothing. No documents, no photos, no device, no message, just empty space. That didn't make sense. I tilted the box, shook it, ran my hand along the inside. Nothing. He leaned in, looked, then leaned back. And for the first time, he looked confused. Not recognition, not fear, confusion. Because now, whatever he expected wasn't this. Which means this isn't the same pattern. It's a variation. Something new. That's when I saw it. Not inside the box. Under it. A small cut. Clean. Precise. Along the bottom seam. It had already been opened. Not resealed to protect something inside. Resealed. To remove it. That's the difference. They took it out. He didn't respond. Didn't need to. Because now, we were both seeing the same thing. The box was never meant to deliver anything. It was meant to prove something. That it could reach me. That it could pass through my mother. That it could sit in my house, unquestioned, until it was too late. My phone vibrated. I didn't want to look. So I did. Good. That was it. No instructions. No threat. No follow-up. Just confirmation. We did exactly what they needed. Not opening the box would have kept us uncertain. Opening it gave them what they wanted. Engagement. Proof. Response. Because now, they know something critical. I won't ignore it. I will act. I will step in. Exactly the way the last person did. That's the pattern. It started, he said. Not it might. Not we should be careful. Started. Not the situation, the sequence, the chain. The thing that doesn't stop once you're inside it. I didn't panic. Didn't cry. Didn't react the way people expect. Because something else had already replaced that. Clarity. Cold. The box was empty. But the message wasn't. The message was, we can reach you. We can use your family. We can control the timing. And now, we know you'll respond. I thought the danger was what was inside the package. Then I thought it was my husband's past. But I was wrong. The real danger was that the moment I opened that box, I proved something to people I couldn't see. There was nothing inside it. And that's how I knew. Whatever they wanted from me was already outside.